involve the provincial government. They must be involved in these negotiations. They're our resources after all. So we should have a say about our resources. Allow the provinces to collect their own taxes. Run away with. How did this happen? Chairman, I insist you go and you ask your technocrats. What's the purpose of conducting a survey if you're not going to listen to the results?
The Honourable Governor for Northern Province.
I also wish to just add a few comments in regards to this bill and commend the minister. He has been a very active minister for this particular ministry since he has taken office. We all agree with this. He has been engaging with governors and has taken our agendas and transformed them into realities, including this bill that he has brought here. I also wish to commend the Marape government, of which I am a part of. When we took office in 2019, all of us, including some of my colleagues on that side, were very supportive because the good Prime Minister insisted that the provincial governments would be an area of concern for him, and he would ensure that provincial governments are strengthened and become more relevant. But, good Prime Minister, whilst this is happening from the perspective of the Department of Provincial level and local level governments, some other ministries are not taking this agenda on board, and I would like you to spend time with them to encourage them to do so. And I'll elaborate as I go along in my few comments that I wish to make here. But first and foremost, I think that it's an opportune time for us, now that we're approaching the 50 years mark, to review the 95 reforms that took place some 30 years ago and what impact it has had on our nation, good and bad. I think largely bad, some good. This decision to fix something that wasn't broken has caused a lot of problems for many provinces. And all you have to do is drive around anywhere in Papua New Guinea to any district or station, and you see the dilapidated states of these districts and stations. And they all started to decline after the reforms. And then they encouraged urban drift. Everyone left the stations and districts and migrated to the urban centers, placing huge burdens on very limited infrastructure and services, and then causing the ethnic unrest of which we are discussing on front page newspapers and seeing. Our people are looking for opportunities, and they had these opportunities in their districts and their stations prior to 95. What happened? What happened with these reforms that led to this significant nationwide urban drift trend, which we are all witnessing? So I would say that this government, perhaps through this particular ministry, needs to carry out this review of these reforms. Find out what worked, what didn't work. And if we have to revert back to some systems that were working, then why not? Why not? I, for one, think that perhaps governors should return to their provinces and be premiers, run their provinces. And then we should have perhaps regional representatives representing those provinces and form a bicameral house. And those regional representatives can, besides representing their regions or their provinces, can also perform the duties of running parliamentary committees, which are very important and need the attention, permanent attention, of members of parliament. These are discussions we have to have going forward the next 50 years. What's the next 50 years going to look like? And as for some of the points I noted in here, funding for LLG, I think this is a great step in the right direction. There was funding for LLG, it was taken away, it was brought back. I think we should leave funding for LLG alone. Let it be permanent funding for the LLG. but put in place mechanisms so that they report and they acquit their funds. They have to be educated sufficiently so that they know what they're supposed to be doing. I want to also propose that we consider national government focusing on developing standards and policies, monitoring provinces, seeing how they perform in the maintaining of these standards and the implementation of these policies at the provincial government level. Rather than Waigani running to provinces and districts, carrying out its activities often without the knowledge of the districts or provinces. And I want the good minister for mining to take note, the good minister for petroleum to take note. These are the two areas which this seems to happen all the time, where you have wardens' hearings being conducted without the knowledge of the district or the province. All by going to kisim sambla kain mumut na, big dog na talk also all conducting wardens' hearing ya. Next minute all give license na permit lo here na mipla lo province mipla ino sabe, district tu ino sabe. Ay. Now landowner all talk landowner man em around lo backside lo Borogo post office em no landowner true. Mats go kam lo Waigani one time Manila folder na karam kain proposal lo kon na. Em talk em landowner na yubla hurry up through na maki mem. Na ino long time one kind agreement, one kind contract you come up na online lo papa ground through lo place all no sabe. All karab nungu dia, ay one mining company come up now all the who said tell him you come. No, mi plak sim permit lo, Waigani nam plak come. Warden cheering mi plak holim lo here. Look at one lo warden cheering come up. Mi plak sim all mumut na all magani nam bot mi plak to ki plak miki warden cheering. This plak kain pasin must stop. And you can transfer these responsibilities back to the provinces. We know who our landowners are. We can carry out these social mapping exercises at the district level, at the provincial level, involve the district member, involve the provincial government. They must be involved in these negotiations. They're our resources after all. So we should have a say about our resources. Gas, gold, nickel, cobalt, whatever it is. So I think we should focus on making this a reality going forward into the next 50 years, so that we can all participate in the economic development of our nation. I want to just make a comment here about GST. Right now, GST is carved out in such a way that I believe the percentage is 60-40. 60-40. And that's not even a real agreement. There's no law that says that we should be given 40% or 60% and national government should you need to go and review these laws and these policies. That's not even real. And it's unfair to small provinces. It is. I would pledge, or I would propose, that 100% be given to the small provinces, the small economies. A bulk of the GST returns are collected in Leh and Port Moresby. Because most of these companies that are operating in this country are headquartered there. Very little is actually making it to the provinces. Allow the provinces to collect their own taxes. And those taxes can then make it back to the districts and stations and fund their upkeep, fund their water and power and law and order. Right now, there's no funds going to the districts and stations. That's why all the man all come to town here, come to city here, all come like Chim settlement. Still all the ground government or still in Pinis now or still in ground Papa ground too. So me proposal say me must look 100% GST must go to legal provinces. Blomium number one on top me talk. Because my idea. Now some legal province where you can give him also responsibilities, also power. Wara so that all can collect him revenue blow yet, na look out him all yet, give him back law. Give him back law. But you manage him standard na policies lo yellow, Waigani. Now me like to thank you through law, minister law, accept him proposal blah also him Kokoda by come up one town, no longer station. So on behalf of me na good la member of Lomilo Sohe, people talk big, thank you through the government. We intend to build Kokoda station into a township, a tourism town, It is one of the largest tourist destinations in PNG, and we have been doing that. We've sealed all the roads. We're bringing water and power back. Instead of going to Cairns, some of you can fly to Kokoda. It's only 20 minutes. And some of you who need to walk should walk the trail to Kokoda and spend some time there. Okay, and go back to your size 32 trousers instead of the size 48 trousers. Now you walk away. I'm through, huh? Me talk like help, please. So some thinking, now, one advise me like him, fellow governors, me realize him also, you can create him what they call bureaus for your provincial governments, and we've done that. And we created the Bureau of Environment and Conservation. And in fact, when we brought it to DPLG, they were quite shocked. They said, no, you can't do this. Then they took it to the Attorney General's office and they cleared it and said, no, you can. Whereby we can now manage what activities are undertaken in our province insofar as the environment and conservation of our natural resources are concerned. And this is to complement the 90 million kina project up in Managlas, the largest environmental conservation project in the country that we are fortunate to host. We now want to go towards creating the Minerals and Energy Bureau so that we can have greater oversight over what is happening in our province and district insofar as minerals and energy is concerned. Yes, we're a poor province, but we're the largest nickel cobalt holdings in the world, and we will be having a say as to what happens to the development of those resources on behalf of our people, as well as what's going to happen offshore in Buna with our oil and gas. We're looking forward to that. Right now, we are just paupers. We watch and we say our time will come. But we're also putting in place the instruments and the mechanics to ensure that we control the development of our resources, and therefore we are able to structure our future, not just be mere spectators. Thank you through Marape Rosso government. Prime Minister, you have kept your word, and I will continue to hold you to account from time to time about this, that the provincial governments must be strengthened. And finally, I want to say something in regards to a recent research that's been carried out by an organization called the Constitutional Law Reform Commission. Chairman is here. He's a great guy. He's doing great work. But Chairman, you need to watch what your guys are doing. They went and carried out a survey, for instance, a very confusing survey. And in this survey, they consulted all the 4 regions, and they asked them about the different tiers of government as to whether they wanted to keep the current provincial government system or do away with it. About 90 to 80% of the regions, all the regions, unilaterally voted 80% to retain the provincial government system. But your organization came out and made a recommendation that the provincial government system should be done away with. How did this happen? Chairman, I insist you go and you ask your technocrats. Only one can walk here. What's the purpose of conducting a survey if you're not going to listen to the results? Thank you.